Hello and welcome to the latest Kitcar shorts on a quirky little vehicle that I remember from the early 80s, but it did actually date from a little bit earlier than that. It's called the Mumford Musketeer, and it's a front-engined, rear-wheel drive, two-seat, three-wheeled car, based on the Vauxhall Viva, which in itself was unusual, although there were three-wheelers around. There were a lot of them were vintage-looking affairs with motorcycle engines, and this stood aside as something quite different. The company was based in Nailsworth in Gloucestershire, and it was called Mumford Engineering, and it was created by a gentleman called Brian Mumford. Now, he gained his design experience at aircraft manufacturers Avro and Hawkers, and he founded his own engineering business on the 30th of June 1964, specialising in custom-built road trailers to individual specifications, as well as developing the Musketeer. Fiberglass body, as I said, Vauxhall Viva running gear, and it was a little bit different. Instead of popple headlamps, it had drop-down flaps, a bit like my Quantum Saloon. And the company actually went into liquidation in 1994. So it had quite a long run. The car itself was, as I said, based on the Viva. It was I'm not sure exactly how the mechanism worked, but the length was 3470, so 3,470 millimeters long, so that's nearly 3.5 meters. Width 1,610 millimeters, that's a meter and 1.6 meters. Height was 1,130 millimeters, so it's quite low. The donor vehicle wasn't the HC like the Silver Star and Leader. It was the HA with engine capacity from 1,057cc, 11,059cc, or the 1256cc engine. And although it was quite low powered, the car only weighed 406 kilos, so potentially the performance was reasonable. And with the car donor rather than a motorbike donor, it was more torquey engine, so therefore the lightweight Musketeer would be relatively easy for it to push along at a fair lick, and it was quite a practical thing as well. It had a boot, two doors, two seats, and I think there was a hood available. And in all, I think 11 were built. As I said, it was a little bit different. It was something of its time, and it's, for me, it always stood out because here was a wedgie thing that you could theoretically live with, and in much the same way as you could a Barclay. And yet there he was with little adverts in the Kitcar magazines, hardly pushing it really. It was just, you just saw these adverts turn up every month. The brochure, as you can see, was, quite nicely put together. And it was claimed it could do about 50 miles to the gallon, probably a bit more. And the Viva suspension would have given it, reasonable handling for a three-wheeler. It was completely different and quite unique, and exactly what the kit car industry is all about. I don't think he was desperate to sell more. He would obviously have liked to have sold more, but he was pushing the trailers, and these things just, the Musketeer just ticked along on its own as a sort of a sideline. But an interesting car, I'm sure you'll agree. We hope you've enjoyed this little video on the Mumford Musketeer. If you have, and you're new around here, why don't you give us a thumbs up, click on the like, and whilst you're at it, why not hit the bell and subscribe? Reasons for subscribing, well, we've got plenty coming up on the channel. First of all, Glorious 6R4, which we produced as a DVD, is now going to be available on the channel later in the month. We've got more Kitcar shorts, and including this, the Raffo Belver coming down the line. And if we hit 5,000 subscribers, we're going to put our Glorious Group B DVD on the channel, but only if we hit 5,000 subscribers.